Welcome, viewers. So, what are we doing? Well, we're playing Sacred 2 here, except it's not a standard Sacred 2. What I wanted to show you is this. So, what we have here is we have our Xpadder set up. I'll move it to the center of the screen so we can see this is our directional pad, and we've set up Sacred 2. First thing you want to do if you want to use Xpadder with Sacred 2 is make sure that you start Xpadder with admin controls. Once you have that up, you make your controller map, and you could probably read Xpadder for details on that. Xpadder does cost $10, but I find that it works pretty well. It seems to have been worth the money for me. So this is my directional pad that has my potions. G is my god spell. F is my health potion. My left analog stick is here, and that's WASD controls. Right analog stick moves my mouse around as per normal type of controls. So the result of this is I can move around with my left stick, and my right stick moves my mouse around. If I press the right analog stick down, it'll bring up the map, which is pretty cool. If I press down the left trigger here, which is right here, it'll toggle while it's held down to, this is my travel form, and page up and page down with the shoulder keys zoom the camera. This makes the right analog stick control the camera. Left analog stick is still WASD, and the left and right directional buttons are for when I'm on my map screen and I want to zoom in and out on the map. This is my combat art number 2, and the blue box around it is because I set it up with some advanced stuff so that it waits for 0.10 seconds and then it presses the combat art 1. So each time I use my acute mind or golden glade touch, it switches back to ravaged impact automatically, so that I can still just hold down what would be the X key, and this will fire off my melee attack and my combat art number 1, which is ravaged impact. My right shoulder button triggers this is toggled, so I press it once and it goes to that, press it again and it goes back to my normal control. And this does menu controls, so the left analog stick moves the mouse around. Control is on this button, and that's for selling stuff at the vendor. Left analog stick, that should keep you from moving around, but it doesn't necessarily work. You have to be pretty particular to set that up. Alt on the other trigger allows you to control to compare loot when you hover over anything. And then you'll notice that's the enter button and the escape button. So if you get a quest, you toggle into the menu control and press what would be the square button, and that'll accept a quest or whatever. Or you press triangle to get out of a menu or decline a quest. This right mouse button will allow you to consume runes, use potions, equip items, anything like that. So let's see it in action. And obviously at any time I can zoom in and out as I please. I'm also using you're probably seeing enormous amounts of XP and enormous amounts of damage. That's because I've modded the balance file, and I've modded this character, added a lot of stuff to their buffs. So as you can see, we're just doing everything with our character, and whenever I press another combat art, it brings it back to my primary, my meat and potatoes, bread and sausages type of deal. God, I hate undead. So annoying. Alright, they're dead. No, they're not undead anymore. Okay. Pretty important, you gotta get that mouse cursor in the right place so your character will just start mauling stuff. That's the goal here. So the other thing I've been doing is I added a ton of splash damage to this character's buffs, and added a ton of damage and chance to hit, just to sort of, I wanted to create a more offensive type of thing. Haven't had to, press anything else as of yet. If I want to bring up my menus, I press that start button type of deal there, and then I can just sell stuff, whatever. I don't have to stop using my gamepad for this. It works. I've done all my rune exchanging and everything with this pad. I added bargaining to one of my buffs, so I have also done that with all skills. You can have a buff raise any skill, or if you want the all skills. And I suppose it's worth mentioning, since we are fighting undead right now, I believe you can add a modifier to a buff that will give you an enormous chance to banish undead, which should alleviate you from the need to fight undead. So the really awesome thing about what I'm doing right now with using this this Xpadder controls is it's giving me the ability to play with a console style feel, where I can just sit back and play the entire game through a gamepad, but I can still modify the game. Should be able to use expansions, and of course you can run the Diablo full conversion mod to emulate, or it replicates Diablo 2 type characters. I don't know, I'm surprised that I'm finding so little to say about this, but it's really pretty freaking awesome. Honestly, I don't want to be underselling this. This is pretty great. Being able to control the PC version like this. One of the issues that I had with the console is I got a lot of characters higher up in level, and then the game started crashing. The console version is incredibly slow with pretty much any type of Temple Guardian. So I'm still just experimenting with different things that you can change in this game. I have a bunch of different ideas for abilities that I'd like to put in. We'll just have to see if I am able to get around to doing them. Like, all my buffs have like the longest bonus list. They're all like 30 items long, so well, that's not, they're like 15 items long. Although all of it's relatively simple because you're not doing any scripting or anything, you just have to know which files to modify. You can pretty much see what kind of damage we're doing here, and the leveling is very fast. So I don't know, I personally find all that more fun. Alright, so here's my Inquisitor playing with so I get some minions and stuff, and I've updated some things. This isn't going tremendously well, but we'll go ahead and warp in our guy. I'm getting not the greatest frame rate here, but yeah, I get some minions, modified my I made the minions last a lot longer, modified the inexorable subjugation, so that hits pretty hard, pretty much kills stuff. I don't have any like hack and slash type of attack. This is primarily, I designed this to be a minion based character. It just kills things too fast. So that's what happens there. That spell is particularly effective at killing things. I added a whole bunch of chance chain NR to and a bunch of damage to the Levin array, which is the lightning attack you're seeing. Something that can be cool with this Inquisitor is to use lightsaber, which they added. It was already in the game, but they unlocked it with the community mod. And then your zealous doppelganger will use that lightsaber. You can actually see him with it. Because otherwise most of the minions aren't really all that visible for the Inquisitor. But as you can see, it's a pretty neat playstyle. You just start building up a minion army, as I've made them pretty effective. Which is probably going to help because I really cranked up the difficulty on this version. But it's kind of neat getting up a big minion army, just killing lots of stuff. Guess we're not getting the most amazing XP right now. Not sure if my XP buff worked or not. I was supposed to add, I added an XP, I added an experience buff to one of the buffs, but I don't know if I did it right. Sometimes, because I just did it, so in general, they don't die too bad. And one of the reasons for trying to give them extra uptime is to make them actually be of use in boss battles, because usually every boss has this like long lead up to it, so usually all your minions die before you can get to the boss. Don't knock it till you've tried it. Alright. Oh, one thing I just modified was I made my buff give me an enormous boost to all armor, so that should help with my defense. As you can see, I have a ton of armor for everything. Should be interesting. I just thought I'd experiment with something else. That way you can keep 3 elements on the wheel. The concept behind this is you can keep 3 elements on this wheel and get decent protection from all 3 elements, or stack them and you can get awesome resistance. So we'll see how I'll have to see how that works. Oh, I also put intellect on one of my buffs. I just wanted to give this guy an offensive buff too. Helps out with a bunch of spell intensity and that sort of thing. Adding combat art damage. So that's it for the Inquisitor here.